You wake up in the morning and make hundreds of decisions before the day even begins. You choose what to wear, what to eat, how to speak, what to avoid, what to hope for. It feels like freedom. It feels like choice. But what if most of those decisions were never truly yours to begin with? What if the direction of your life is being quietly guided by beliefs you have never consciously examined? The uncomfortable truth is this: the majority of human behavior is not driven by logic or conscious intention. It is driven by invisible beliefs, deep, unspoken assumptions about who you are, how the world works, and what is possible for you. These beliefs operate beneath awareness, shaping your reactions long before your rational mind steps in to justify them. You may believe you chose your career because it felt right, but beneath that choice may live an unspoken belief that stability matters more than fulfillment, or that failure is too dangerous to risk. You may believe you avoid certain relationships because you are independent, when in reality you are protecting a belief that closeness always leads to pain. These beliefs do not announce themselves. They disguise themselves as reason. Psychology tells us that the mind is not designed to seek truth. It is designed to seek safety. From the moment you are born, your brain begins constructing a model of reality based on early experiences. Whatever keeps you emotionally safe becomes true. Whatever threatens its safety becomes wrong, dangerous, or impossible. Over time, these emotional conclusions harden into beliefs, and beliefs harden into identity. As a child, you did not analyze the world. You absorbed it. A critical parent may have planted the belief that love must be earned. A dismissive teacher may have embedded the belief that your voice does not matter. A painful failure may have convinced you that trying is riskier than staying small. None of these beliefs were chosen. They were formed in moments when your nervous system was overwhelmed and needed an explanation to survive. Carl Jung once wrote that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is not poetry. It is psychological law. Invisible beliefs run automatically, like background code in a machine. You do not feel them as beliefs. You feel them as instincts, preferences, gut feelings, and because they feel natural, you never question them. Consider how often you say things like, "I'm just not that type of person," or "that S." Just how life works for people like me, Dante. Succeed at that. These statements sound like observations, but they are confessions. They reveal the invisible architecture controlling your decisions. One of the most powerful ways these beliefs maintain control is through confirmation. The mind does not look for evidence that challenges its beliefs. It looks for evidence that confirms them. If you believe you are unlovable, you will unconsciously ignore affection and magnify rejection. If you believe success requires suffering, you will sabotage moments of ease. Your brain rewards familiarity, not accuracy. This is why people often repeat the same mistakes with different faces, the same relationship patterns, the same financial struggles, the same emotional cycles. The outer story changes, but the inner belief remains untouched. And because the belief remains invisible, the pattern feels mysterious, even cursed. Philosophers understood this long before neuroscience could explain it. Plato's allegory of the cave describes prisoners who mistake shadows on a wall for reality. When one prisoner escapes and sees the world as it truly is, the truth feels painful, blinding, and he is tempted to return to the cave. This is exactly what happens when invisible beliefs are challenged. Truth is not immediately liberating. It is threatening. This is why people often defend beliefs that harm them. A belief is not just an idea. It is a psychological shelter. It provides certainty, even if that certainty causes suffering. Nietzsche observed that humans would rather will nothingness than face uncertainty. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. Your beliefs become intertwined with your identity. To question them feels like questioning who you are. If you believe you are the responsible one, you may reject opportunities that threaten that image. If you believe you are the strong one, you may refuse help, even when you need it. Letting go of a belief can feel like a small death. The tragedy is not that invisible beliefs exist. The tragedy is that most people never become aware of them. They live their entire lives inside mental structures built during moments they barely remember. They confuse conditioning for character. They call imitation realism and fear intuition. The cost of this unconscious living is immense. Dreams are abandoned not because they are impossible, but because they conflict with an unexamined belief. Relationships are sabotaged not because love is absent, but because vulnerability contradicts an old emotional rule. Potential is wasted not from lack of talent, but from loyalty to a belief that no longer serves. Schopenhauer believed that human suffering arises from blind striving desire operating without awareness. When beliefs run unconsciously, desire pulls you in directions you do not understand. You chase things that never satisfy you. You avoid things that could heal you. And all the while, you wonder why life feels hollow or heavy. So how do you begin to see what has been invisible? You start by paying attention to emotion. Emotional overreactions are signals. When something triggers intense fear, shame, anger, or hopelessness, it is rarely about the present moment. It is about a belief being threatened. Ask yourself what must be true for this reaction to make sense. What belief about yourself or the world is being touched? You also examine patterns, not isolated events, but repetitions. Where do you keep ending up? What story keeps replaying? Patterns are the footprints of beliefs. They reveal the rules you are living by, even when you cannot articulate them. Then comes the most dangerous question of all. What do I believe that makes this behavior logical? Not morally right, not socially acceptable. Logical. Because every behavior, no matter how self-destructive, makes sense inside the belief system that created it. This is where Jung's idea of the shadow becomes essential. The shadow is not evil. It is everything you were taught to suppress in order to be accepted. Strength, ambition, anger, vulnerability, desire. Invisible beliefs often exist to keep the shadow buried, but what you suppress controls you from below. What you face begins to lose its grip. Awareness alone does not instantly change beliefs, but it weakens their authority. A belief cannot fully control you once you see it as a belief rather than a fact. The moment you can say, I notice, I believe, instead of this is just how it is, a crack appears in the structure. Rewriting a belief is not about positive thinking or repeating affirmations. The mind rejects lies it cannot verify. Real change comes from evidence. Small, deliberate actions that contradict the old belief. If you believe you are incapable, you take actions that prove capability, even in minor ways. If you believe rejection is inevitable, you practice exposure to it until the nervous system learns that it is survivable. Philosophy reminds us that freedom does not come from controlling the world. It comes from understanding the self. Socrates claimed that the unexamined life is not worth living, not because examination is comfortable, but because unconscious living is a quiet form of imprisonment. Most people will never question the beliefs that run their lives. They will mistake habit for destiny and conditioning for truth. But a few will pause. A few will look inward and ask why they react the way they do. Choose what they choose. Fear what they fear. And in that moment, something shifts. You realize you are not your beliefs. You are the awareness that holds them. You can observe them. You can challenge them. You can outgrow them. The moment you begin to question your invisible beliefs, they lose their absolute power. And while awareness may initially feel destabilizing, it is the beginning of genuine freedom. Because for the first time, your life is no longer being lived by a story you never chose.